In Canada, internationally educated nurses cannot practice until they have registered with the provincial regulatory body. And for caregivers who have professional experience as nurses in their home country with pending immigration status, the registration process can be a long journey. Welcome to Season 2 of Mom Let's Talk, brought to you by Northern Community House, an organization that builds strong, resilient, and inclusive communities in Northwest Toronto. I'm Farhannah, your host. Today, we're continuing the story of Maria, a registered nurse who began working as a live-in caregiver in 2017. In this episode, we'll discuss the steps Maria is taking to become a permanent resident and a registered nurse in Canada. Due to the sensitivity of our topic, the names of our interviewees have been changed. Let's continue to listen to Maria's story.
My goal personally is to become a permanent resident soon here in Canada. And for my family, I want my sister to finish her study. And at the same time, professionally, my goal is to study here in Canada. I want to pursue my profession, being nursing profession, I mean.
Yeah.
And then, para din ma-back to track yung profession ko as a nurse. And to help also people here because that's my passion, to work in a hospital setting and help people. So for the moment that I'm still waiting for my PR resident application approval. So I was not able to approve yet. So I decided to enroll myself to PSW, Personal Support Worker. Mm-hmm. Then I also undergo a lot of trainings. Like I went to basic life support on CPR certificate. So I took that one. I took also food handling certificate. And at the same time, I sent an application to volunteer here near to our house, which is Humber River Hospital. So I'm just waiting for them to call me if there's any available vacancy to become a volunteer in the hospital.
Thank you for sharing your story with us, Maria. And here with us again today is Ella Tan, the Employment and Family Support Worker for Filipino Women at Northern Community House. Hi, Ella. I'm happy to have you here again.
Hi, Farhannah. Thanks for having me.
So, Ella, we've been listening to Maria's story, and as we know by now, Maria is an internationally trained, experienced registered nurse. Why was she not able to practice as a nurse here in Canada when she first came?
That's a good question, Farhannah. So basically, although Maria is an experienced nurse, she still needs to undergo credential accreditation to practice in Canada. Unfortunately, there are numerous challenges of getting accredited. First, it costs a lot of money because they have to go to documents verification through National Nursing Assessment Services, or NNAS. And these verified documents are sent to College of Nurses in Ontario for accreditation. And these processes really take a long time for them, right? So it's going to be a long wait for anybody who will go through credential accreditation. And then based on the assessment by the CNO, internationally trained nurses sometimes are asked to upgrade to be registered here. So meaning sometimes, even if they have to go through these processes, and once their documents are assessed, CNO could sometimes tell them, go back to school for 2 years or more, or go to bridging program. And sometimes these processes really stresses them out. In Maria's situation, she's certain that she would be required to upgrade her studies because, there's what we call safe practice. And if you haven't been practicing as a nurse for a long time, then this safe practice would expire, right? So for her, she's already certain that she won't be able to get back into nursing profession unless she would upgrade her, unless she would go back to school, right? So with her current status as a caregiver and having work permit, this would mean that she would have to pay international student fee or apply first for as an international student and then pay for the international student fee. And that can be very expensive, which is for Maria not possible at this given time because number one, again, financial constraints as she is a breadwinner in her family. Right now, the best option for Maria is to wait to get to her permanent resident status to get approved so that she can take either a bridging program with financial assistance with OSAP. So it's really up to her what she wants to decide, bridging program, or she want to take another 2-year course as a nurse in any college or university. But unfortunately, though, her paper has been delayed for 5 years.
So since Maria can afford to upgrade her studies, because as you mentioned, she would have to pay international fee student, considering that she doesn't have a permanent resident status yet. Is there anything that she can do for now to take steps towards her goal of becoming a registered nurse?
Yes, I think this is something that we've discussed earlier in our conversation. This is something that Maria and I have worked on as an employment support worker. We have explored those ideas from the caregiver themselves, right? So Maria and I have been working on SMART goals, which means specific, measurable, and realistic and timely. Again, given that Maria is very focused on her immigration status, this is very important because whatever we are working on with our clients or community participants, we're always make sure that we are setting them up for success and for realistic expectation, right? So instead of her, focusing on her negative thoughts about what might happen to her immigration status, then we try to kind of shift her to the things that, she can do right now that is very specific. Like, for example, we work on simple steps such as identifying what she can do now that is achievable and like, for example, exploring her educational pathway to nursing. So again, when you want to go back to your nursing profession, you need to have an experience in the healthcare setting, right? So one option for her is to identify other areas that is not nursing profession that she can enroll now. Like, for example, PSW or personal support worker. So that could be a good area where she can have an experience as a healthcare provider. And then eventually she could use this experience when she wanted to work as a registered nurse. Also, not only personal support worker, we've identified medical office assistant or long-term care support worker, which allow her to at least experience Canadian workplace culture and learn about Canadian healthcare system while working on her accreditation for nursing. And at the same time, it will give her something to look forward to. So right now, she's actually completing a PSW program and she's on her placement stage, getting the certificate.
That sounds great, Ella. I'm happy to learn that Maria is working towards her goal. I'm very interested to learn more about the PSW program that you mentioned. Don't you need a study permit or a permanent resident status before you can pursue your education in Canada?
Well, that's an interesting question, Farhannah. So, yes, you need to have a permanent resident status or a student permit to study in Canada. So in Maria's case, however, she's on the process of applying her permanent resident status and is now pending. This means that she will have her status soon. All her requirements are deemed admissible at this time. Given her status, some school will allow her to enroll in a part-time personal support worker course, just to emphasize not full-time. because this is what is allowable in her current work permit. And certification or graduation is also pending unless she will get the permanent resident status. So this means that he can only take part-time courses since they don't have a student permit, which means it would take them longer to complete a certification for personal support worker.
Okay, so aside from taking a PSW course part-time, what else has she done or has been doing to help her achieve her goal of getting her nursing license?
Well, as Maria mentioned, she involved herself with various training, and true enough, she always reached out to me for every free trainings we have at Niche that is related to healthcare. Her trainings are very specific and targeted, which means geared towards her career goals in finding a job in healthcare sector. So, for example, we're running palliative care training, CPR training, dementia training courses. And this is something that we provide for caregivers who are trying to build their career around healthcare system.
That's great that Maria seems proactive, and I think it's also good that these type of training are available to the caregivers through Niche. Maria also mentioned volunteering in the interview, and how does volunteering help her?
Yes, so I know some of the caregivers will find themselves having to juggle 3 different jobs and get extra money to support their family. But if they could and they have time to volunteer, they should do it. I would highly recommend volunteering. One thing for sure, it would give them an idea about Canadian workplace culture, and you will have firsthand experience on how coworkers communicate meeting expectation and decision making. So it will really boost their self-confidence and improve their language skills. There are so many benefits of volunteering apart from gaining what's so-called Canadian experience.
Which again will be crucial when she starts applying for a registered nurse position. So going back to the first episodes, we focus on exploring challenges that Maria faces as a caregiver, such as adjusting with her first employer and dealing with extreme anxiety due to her immigration paper issues. Can you please share with us how Maria overcame those challenges to achieve her goals and her words or piece of advice to caregivers out there who might be experiencing the same challenges?
Yeah, I think we've discussed this earlier on our previous episode about Filipinos are predominantly Catholic or Christian. So we have high regards on religions and our beliefs. For Maria, I can see that prayer is one of her tools. And also she mentioned about being patient and perseverance. Maria really has this goal of getting into her profession and try to defy all the difficulties of having to deal with difficult employers with these values. So as what she said, if you give up right away, then there could be some serious repercussion, such as losing an employer, and could mean losing your job and sometimes immigration status. So she also mentioned about building a good communication with her employer, like being open and being assertive in a good way. Setting boundaries is very important as well. I would say communicating your needs and your right is just as important. One thing for sure with Maria, she was never and is never afraid to reach out to me for her support. And she knew that when she needed to ask for it, including her friends, we are always there and available to provide her advice and support.
So listening to Maria's story, we are able to get a glimpse of how caregiving is a challenging work, but we also learned that being resilient, learning how to communicate more openly, and asking for help are important to build a professional working relationship with your employers and to work on your goals. Ella, I really enjoyed having these conversations with you, and I hope our listeners have as well.
Well, thank you very much, Farhannah. Kinararangal ko na maging bahagi sa programang ito at maging instrumento na ibahagi ang kwento ng mga kasamahan nating caregiver dito sa Canada. Again, it's been a very good experience for me, and I hope that maging isa itong instrumento na maintindihan yung kalagayan ng mga caregiver natin dito sa Canada.
As always, thank you so much for joining us, Ella. For live-in caregivers who might be needing support, how can they contact you?
They can reach me through my email, etan@nych.ca, or they can give me a call at 416-636-2600, extension 4228.
This is the last episode in the Season 2 of Mom Let's Talk. Thank you so much for listening, and remember to get in touch if there is anything we can help you with. Kababayan, hanggang sa susunod! This podcast is brought to you by North York Community House. North York Community House builds strong, resilient, and inclusive communities in Northwest Toronto. We help children, youth, parents, and seniors become active, engaged citizens who lead positive change in their neighborhoods. Find us at nych.ca.